Hello, and thank you so much for joining us. Hello? Hello, and thank you so much for joining us. We are talking today about how to increase online conversions from your website in real estate, and we appreciate everyone turning out and showing up. My name is Gilbert. I am the marketing director here at Onboard. We are leaders in data-driven engagement in real estate, and I'm joined today by Ira Monco, who is our Chief Solutions Architect. Quickly, I just want to do a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions throughout the session, you can type them in, and we will either address them as we go or at the end of the session. Also, if you have to drop off for any reason, we will send you a copy of this recording for reference, so don't worry about it too much. And if you're having any technical difficulties or if you can't hear or see the entire presentation, please just let me know now by typing that in. Okay. Looks like everyone is good to go, so we are going to go ahead and get started. The agenda today, we're going to start briefly by talking about the state of the industry. We're going to talk a little bit about online leads. They have a bad reputation, and so we want to kind of address that. And then talk about 3 ways to improve online lead generation, how to better identify, engage, and segment your leads so you're not wasting your time and you are seeing a higher conversion rates. So let's take a moment to discuss real estate leads in general, like where are they coming from, the trend and the migration online in today's consumer behavior. I know this sounds like maybe we're delaying getting to the good stuff, but understanding this will help you understand why the tactics we discuss in a few minutes will work. So where are leads coming from? I'm sure it's no surprise to everyone that most of them are coming from contacts and referrals, upwards of 75%. At a much lower percentage, 11% are generated online, 9% through open houses, 3% just are walk-ins to the office, 1% from print, and another roughly 1% from direct mail. So a couple things of note. One, still contacts and referrals are going to be your best bet. So if you have a robust network, work that network. If you don't have a strategy around that, certainly data-driven marketing can help you in that respect as well. And some of the tactics we're going to discuss today in terms of where to route leads and how to treat different leads differently will help you engage your contacts and referrals, which obviously seem to bear a lot of fruit. So don't ignore those. Now, online from this chart looks like it's not a viable option in regards to contacts and referrals. However, when you think back to 2003, that number was less than 6%, and now it's 11. So online engagement and people going online to start their home buying and selling process is increasing than ever before, generated online. And those online leads, 95% of them will convert between the 2nd and the 12th point of contact. So these are people that are going to convert, just maybe not today. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. Looking at this, just an overall strategy, I would say, spend the majority of your time nurturing your contacts and referrals and utilize technology to do that. So there are obviously CRMs, there's data-driven engagement strategies that can be turnkey that you can just implement and make sure you're kind of touching back to your network. But then supplement that with your online strategy, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. I would also say, just based on these numbers, if you're doing a lot of investing in print or in direct mail, it doesn't seem like those are returning at the same levels, so maybe to redirect some of those efforts and move them online. So who are these leads? Who are these visitors coming to your website? Who are these people filling out these lead generation forms? Well, they're people in various stages of the buying cycle. So a lot of them are just considering buying a home for the first time. They may be still in their dream state. They may be doing more research. But, a lot of them aren't really ready immediately to talk to an agent. And so that's why a lot of people don't love online leads, because they think they're not hot leads, they're not ready to purchase, they're kind of a waste of time, they take a lot of effort. And so we're here to say that while some of that might be true, there are easy ways you can do today utilizing technology that with little effort you can start to segment and keep tabs on the different leads coming to your site. Again, 95% are going to convert, and most of them are going to convert within a year. That, I know, sounds like a long time to a lot of agents who are looking for that 60 to 90-day closing cycle. However, if you touch back on those, that's less money you're going to have to invest in driving traffic to your site, less money you're going to have to invest in buying leads back or buying leads directly. If you can successfully engage with those people that are coming to your site, knowing that almost 100% of them are going to make a transaction within 12 months, then you can save on those other resources and reinvest them. 42% today say the web is their first stop when looking for a home, and I think this is important too. It just, one, speaks to the idea that a lot of these guys are tire kickers. You know, they're just kind of feeling things out, seeing what the market's doing, considering buying a home for the first time. So that's one piece of fact to think about when thinking about the statistic. But another is that this is a huge number compared to where it was just in 2003. In 2003, this number was 13. As you know, the millennials and the younger generation are coming up and they're looking at houses, the first place they go is the internet. And so you want to make sure that you are ready and you, of course, have that online presence. So we know that if you have a typical real estate website and you get 100 visitors, here's 100 people, one of those visitors are going to fill out a lead form. And we have ideas on why that is so low, and we can talk about that today. And then, not only that, once you get those 100 people to fill out, or once you get 100 people to fill out a lead form, only one of those deals, statistically speaking, is going to close. So we're suggesting that by implementing some of the tactics we talk about today, you can increase these numbers. And it doesn't have to be a lot to make a big difference in your revenue, because we're not only talking about increasing your close rate, we're talking about investing less money up front, you know, in your marketing to drive traffic, in your lead purchasing. All that money can then go back into engaging and converting these leads that are coming to your site. So I think by implementing these three things, not only will you drive top line dollars, but you'll also save in the long run. So let's get to the good stuff. I have to announce that Ira had to take a meeting, so I'm going to go ahead and continue on with the webinar. It doesn't look like we have any questions as of yet, and we are going to get into some more nitty-gritty. So as we go, I'm happy to answer any questions, and then if there's anything I'm not able to answer, I will certainly direct you to Ira, who can follow up with the more technical questions if they arise. So the first thing that you want to think about in your website is identification. And so what do we mean by that? We mean that there are three types of leads that you want to identify and route differently coming to your site. There are hot leads, leads that are ready to deal with an agent. There are warm leads, and these are the kind of leads that we've been talking about, those leads that are kicking the tires, they're pondering, thinking about maybe buying a home. And then in a separate category, I've put sellers. Home sellers are very valuable. We've done several webinars on how to generate more home seller leads. Agents love home sellers. So I feel like there could be a different path for home sellers. Now, obviously, a lot of home sellers turn into buyers, but I think you segment those out separately. So we're going to speak to how you can address and target these three leads and how to treat them a little bit different. So hot leads, most of you guys are probably doing this already. In any of your listing pages, here's an example of a lead gen form. So basically, you know, they're saying if you want more information on this house, a lot of times they will say things like, this is the bottom right, you'll see it says contact an agent right here. Here is realtor.com, and you can see they have, you know, obviously a national portal, but they have their agent recommendations here. So a lot of the calls to action right now on real estate websites have to do with either contacting an agent or getting more information on the home. They are rather aggressive, they are very direct, and they are effective at identifying hot leads, leads that are anxious, they're ready to hit the ground running, they're ready to see some properties, they want someone to help them out. And so for those leads, you absolutely need a lead capture form along these lines that will drive you to a specific agent. So these are for hot leads. We do recommend having these types of calls to action on your website. And if you don't have that, we'd be happy to walk you through easily how to get something like that on your site. So summary, for hot leads, make sure every listing page has a lead gen form. Make it the call to action clear. I love the pictures of the agents. I think that adds a human touch. Embed those leads directly into your CRM. I know most of you know this, but follow up with them. You know that if you follow up within 5 minutes, you'll be 12,000% more likely to close that deal than every minute after. Don't ask for a lot of things. You can ask for 3 things. It'll be enough to get you going and put into your CRM. So make sure you have that. Second thing is make sure you have an alternative. So for those tire kickers, for those people that are just entering into the market and are thinking about buying a home, make sure that you have some kind of call to action for them too. Because if you have an effective nurture campaign or drip marketing system, you can keep those leads warm until they're ready to convert. You can stay in front of those leads until they're ready to convert. And this is going to be a lot less expensive than buying those leads, 6-9 months down the line. So here's some examples. Get listings in your inbox every morning. You can absolutely set something up where you're going to send them property alerts or listings alerts based on their requirements. This is common. A lot of people do that. Here's another example of that. Homes by email, be the first to see new listings as soon as they hit the market. So you can have like really short, punchy calls to action that cater specifically to these kind of window shoppers, so to speak. And I would encourage everyone, the more lead capture forms you have, the more pages you have, the more leads you will get. And while that might seem overwhelming, if you segment them out and like the hot leads from the warm leads, then those warm leads don't take any extra effort at all. It's just a way for them to come into your system, come into your network, and make sure that you stay in front of them through their buying cycle. So another thing that we've been doing, this is called Address Report. And for those of you that don't know, Address Report was a property reporting tool. It's been around for a couple years now. Onboard Informatics recently purchased Address Report, and we're turning it into a kind of solution, an engagement solution for real estate companies. So this is another example of how you could identify a hot lead versus a cold lead. So a hot lead is going to be like this lead capture form right here. Tell me about this property, contact an agent. You can see it's simple, it's short, it's punchy. They don't have to do a lot to get in there. But for those that don't want to do the whole rigmarole and go through that, you can also have them do things like, I want a background check on this property, or I want a property report on this property. And in doing so, you're not only offering additional content, you'll be able to capture those leads. Now, the additional thing that Address Report does is they then send out ongoing alerts on your agent's behalf when something changes to that property or the area of interest. So we'll speak a little bit to that later. This is a specific solution, but any solution you have, what we're saying is make sure you have a call to action for your hot leads and a separate call to action for your warm leads that gets filtered into something that is automatic, no touch, easy for you to manage. And that's kind of what this says. So we've identified who are seller leads. Now, sellers are kind of a different animal, right, because they're looking for different things. They're really interested in the value of their property. I'm sure a lot of you have AVMs, automated evaluation models, in some capacity. Those are great, but I'm sure you also get a lot of feedback that they're not always accurate. In fact, we ran a story recently where the Zillow founder put his property on the market, and the Zestimate was about $2 million off from his actual sale price. So none of them, it's an inexact science. We do the best we can. We have a proprietary model that incorporates thousands of data points into our system, but, it's what people are willing to pay. So we really encourage having interactive AVMs, and this is kind of where we can get into some more, let's see if I can show you here. Specifically, like what we have that you could plug in. So this is our interactive AVM. Zillow has an interactive AVM. A lot of people do now. It kind of allows people to have more control over the value of their property. So this is just an example, but you can see like, okay, so I have similar recent sales, I have similar home values, and if I'm familiar with the area, I can say like, oh yeah, no, this one is a little bit of an outlier, these two aren't exactly right, and you can see how the estimated value here changes and the confidence score goes down. But this is just an additional way to really engage people on your site. So what you want to put is, like if you look at Zillow, great example here, kind of going on the fly here, but so let's see, here's a property in Seattle. Right away, they have something here that says, I'm the owner. So there's ways on your listing pages, on your property pages, on your home page that you can help people self-identify if they are an owner of a property, and then surmise if they're starting to look at market values and trends and things of that sort, that they might be interested in selling their property. In fact, there was an article in Inman about 6 months ago where the CEO of Realtor.com said that 66% of people that are filling out AVMs or requesting AVMs end up selling their home within a year. So, and you can also kind of see how they do the calls to action too here. So you have your listing page, I'm the owner, you have a quick, these are your hot leads right here, thinking of selling, you know, they have a lot of calls to action here. And while, you know, Zillow is kind of this gorilla and they do a lot of things, the way that we're packaging data and the way that more and more people are packaging data, it's becoming a lot more affordable. So you can absolutely steal ideas from places like Zillow and incorporate them into your own website. And we definitely make it easier for you to do that. So home sellers, back to here. So basically, you want to identify hot leads, go direct to the agent. You want to identify warm leads with softer sell, route them directly into a nurture system or your CRM. And we would also recommend utilizing local dynamic content. So don't make your content kind of static or boring or the same thing every month. The more interesting or relevant your content is, the more people will become obviously engaged, opening the emails, interacting with them, and the more your brand will stay relevant or at least top of mind for them. And then in terms of home sellers, identify home sellers on property pages. Have an online info that we talked about, like that interactive information that home sellers care about. And then you want to route them separately, and we can talk about that too, into more of a seller-specific nurture system. So the messaging around sellers are definitely going to be different than the messaging around people that are maybe just looking for a property report or something like that. The second thing you want to think about, so one, the first thing was all about identification. Know who's coming to your site and make sure they're going down those separate paths. The second thing is about engagement. So 96% of visitors coming to your website are not ready to buy or contact an agent. So this is why, remember when we saw at the very beginning, we saw 100 people come to your site, one person's going to fill out a lead form? That's because the lead form says something like contact an agent. Well, we can see from the statistic that most of them aren't going to want to do that. And people are wary about giving their contact information anyway, unless they want to see like direct results. So if I want an agent right at that moment, yeah, I'll probably fill out a contact form. But this is, you know, you're spending valuable resources driving people to your site. You're probably investing in SEO. You might be buying Google AdWords, and you're coming up against, you know, the Zillows and the Trulias and the Realtor.coms, and, you know, it's a tough, getting traffic to your site is not easy. And so once you have people there, you want to make sure that you do not lose them. So don't just think, oh, if they're not ready to buy, they're not valuable. Make sure you have something sticky there that gets them involved and brings them back. So, because you really only have 8 seconds. 8 seconds, that's how long it takes for someone to make up their mind if they're going to stay on your website or go. So what kind of content do you want on your site? Well, I mean, we kind of just saw it with Zillow, right? You not only want the listings that are on the market, and you want those listings accurate. You, of course, want big, huge photos. You want people to be like, okay, this is a place I can go and get what I need. But you also want additional information, because people aren't just buying a house, they're going to be living in that house. So if you go back, and I want to just take a look at, this is a product we have called Accelerate. So basically, Accelerate takes content and just plugs it into your website or mobile application or email or wherever you want it through an API that delivers HTML. So the pictures are blurred because they're not important. This is what you're going to get from your MLS feed. But then as you go down, you can see that you have additional information. Here's the public property record. Here are the demographic information that people are sometimes interested in. Here's what's near. And then here you get to like really nitty-gritty stuff, like, okay, here's recent home sales. Here are the schools in the area. Here's how they're rated. Here are the local amenities, and they're listed down here as well. So having this kind of content will keep people on your site. And then if you have those different lead capture forms or different calls to action or ways to route those leads, you then now have a way not only to get the traffic, but to keep the traffic and then convert that traffic to real leads. Finally, you want to segment. So what we mean by that is you want to make sure that the messaging you're delivering to each target that we talked about at the beginning is different and is relevant for each segment. So we strongly recommend email with this type of ongoing communication. 98% of top performing agents, so these are agents that do above 100,000 a year, say that email is best for converting leads to business. So I know a lot of you are probably using Facebook, and Facebook is great. In fact, 91% of agents today use Facebook, and Facebook has 1.3 billion users or something like that. But think about this. Email has 4 times the amount of users as Facebook and Twitter combined. So there's a lot more people on email. You have a lot less chance of rejection. You know those posts that you put up and there's like 13 people that view them or something terrible. It's a lot more personal. It's a lot more controlled. You can control the message. You can control who sees it. It's a lot harder for the recipients to ignore email. I mean, certainly you at least have to click on it and delete it. At the very least, you have to take some kind of action. So we definitely recommend some kind of CRM, having turnkey email systems that get out there. And, you know, there are a lot of great systems out there. We work with a lot of great partners and would strongly recommend that. We also, if you're a little bit more innovative or looking for more data-driven solutions, we see the average open rates in real estate today are about 18%. Now we, through Address Report, are able to customize our nurture campaigns and consumers. So we send information based on a property or area of interest. And we only send information when something in that area or on that property changes. So the information that we're sending is absolutely applicable to something this person cares about. It's something that feels like it's catered just for them. And it is something that is relevant and timely. You know, these changes happen, you know, within the week. Some of our data is updated every day. So if you have the opportunity, and not if it takes more work, but if there's some kind of automated system where you can start to personalize emails, start to customize emails, you are going to see much greater engagement and open rates. And honestly, if you're investing a lot in buying leads or in buying traffic, this might be a better way to get higher conversions, is to really invest in kind of data-driven solutions that are going to keep people engaged and convert longer term. We see 39% average open rates, which is nearly double the industry average. And we see 20% click-through rates, again, nearly double the industry average, using these techniques. So think back to that first thing, right? Right now you're getting 100 people come to your site, you get 1 person to fill out a form. What if you had 3 different types of forms on your site? Now you get maybe 3 people to fill out a form. And then what if you then kept nurturing them and getting them back over the long period through this kind of data-driven marketing initiatives? Then you might see higher conversion rates from your online lead gen. So you might be getting still 11% leads, but the leads that you're converting will be at a much higher rate. And this is just an example of what our address report looks like. So to summarize, you want to first identify who's coming to your site, use forms and paths to identify where visitors are in their buying process, and then route them accordingly. We have solutions for the home sellers that we would be happy to discuss with you. We also have solutions for those warm leads that we would be happy to discuss with you. Hot leads, obviously the priority, and paramount that you get those to your agents as quickly as possible. So I know there are a lot of lead router systems and solutions out there too, if that's of a concern, and we would be happy to recommend partners along those lines as well. Second, engagement. You spend a lot of time, money, effort, resources getting people to your website, and make sure you have a website that is engaging, that's going to keep people there, that feels relevant, the content feels accurate, that gives a little depth. A lot of these people, you know, once they move past the dream state, are going to be going into that research state. So they're going to kind of dig around and want to see what the area is like. Is there, you know, a health club nearby? Are there good schools nearby? And so if you have that kind of content, those people will be on your site longer. You'll get lower bounce rate. You'll get better time on site. And they'll be much likelier to convert in terms of handing over their personal information on one of your lead forms. And then finally, the follow-up. You know, again, we recommend email. It's turnkey, and we recommend that you have an email set up and ready to go. You know, just to circle back, 95% of these people are going to make a transaction. Why not make them with you? So that concludes our official webinar. Let's see if anyone has any questions. Okay, looks like we have just one question from Cindy, and she is asking about what is a CRM? A great question. Okay, sorry, I just spit out that acronym. So it's a customer management system. So a CRM, we work with technology providers like Boston Logic or Commissions Inc. They are systems that, you know, they can definitely supply your website and things like that, but they will also pull in your contacts, and they can help you manage your contacts. So they can help you do automatic email triggers. They can help you see, you know, they can help you rate leads and see which leads are more likely to buy. It's kind of just a technology solution. Likely you would have some kind of dashboard that you could go back to and reference. I know here at Onboard we use HubSpot, which is another example of a CRM. Even things like, I think, like MailChimp. You know, I know a lot of agents use that. It's not as robust, but certainly that's a great place to start. When we say that you should have the CRM, it's just, you know, if you are handling those types of questions or inquiries manually, it can be really costly and eat up a lot of resources. So having something that is turnkey and automatic makes it a lot easier. And again, you know, if you have any questions, I put Ira's contact information just because I thought maybe we would have some more technical questions. So his contact information is here. If anyone else has any questions or any follow-up, you can also feel free to reach out to me. Again, my name is Erin Gilbert, and that's egilbert@onboardinformatics.com. It looks like that is the last question we have for today. So I want to thank everyone for hopping on the call, participating. Again, we will send you a recording of this, and we very much appreciate your participation. Have a good day.